Hello, welcome back to Castello delle Serre. We're doing today a special dish that many of you have requested, so thank you for taking part of our Instagram survey on what you wanted us to cook for you. Today's winner is carbonara. What does carbonara mean? It means carbonized, and that's because it's got lots of pepper. We are going to give you a quick rundown of these ingredients at the very end. Casey will make a list and show it to you at the very end of this video. So this is day number, I don't even know what day it is anymore, of our quarantine. A little history for you history buffs out there. The word quarantine comes from the Venetian term quarantena, and that is essentially dating back to the bubonic time of the plague and the time of the Venetian maritime republics, where as a safety measure, the ships and the people on the ships would have to stay outside of the city in isolated places for a period of 40 days, and that was to help prevent the spread of the plague. Now we're in dramatic times like that again. Who knows how long we'll be here, but we promise one thing: we are gonna keep cooking for you. So go ahead and keep writing to Casey, please, about what you would like to see us prepare for you. Okay, so today, the carbonara. So we're gonna start with first our boiling water. We have that already on the side. It's ready. All I have to do is add salt to that. The next step, we are going to need to crisp our pancetta. Again, I've used the salted, peppered pancetta. I've cut it to, about 1 millimeter or 2 thickness. And I've got roughly, about half a cup here. We're making this recipe for 4 people. You can add a little more, a little less, depending on how you like. To crisp the pancetta, we are gonna have to put a little bit of olive oil inside the pan. All right, and we can transfer this onto our flame, medium flame, until it gets crispy. Okay, so we're crisping it by extending it evenly over the bottom of the pan. Okay, this is make sure that the heat touches each one of these pieces the same amount, and therefore it will cook evenly. Notice how it's getting nice and crispy. You see that it's actually changing color a little bit. The fat's become a little white. Okay, now it's at a very good point. I don't want to go too much beyond this because then it will burn, and we don't want to do that. Now, we're gonna set this off to the side and just let it sit there. We're not gonna drain any of that oil. Just leave it on the side. We're gonna use that at the very end. Remember, we want our cooking water to taste like ocean water when you go in for a swim. A lot of people think that you need to add olive oil inside of that water so the pasta does not stick together. That is not the case. We are gonna prevent the pasta from sticking together by actually sauteing it, in a pan or mixing it into a bowl. The only reason why you would add olive oil into the cooking water is if the naked pasta noodle was to remain, in a bowl with nothing on top of it, because it would tend to clump. But if it has a coating of olive oil, then it wouldn't do that. But again, this is something that, unless you're making industrial quantities of pasta, you really don't need to do that. We have added salt to our water. Remember, give it a taste. Okay, just make sure that it tastes like the ocean when you're swimming in the ocean. The water is boiling, the pancetta is crisp. We are ready to add our pasta into the water. From this point on, things are gonna move pretty quickly, so stay close and pay attention, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and open our pasta. I'm using a long noodle. This is actually, it's called a macaroni alla chitarra, and essentially it's like a spaghetti, but it's square instead of round. It has a little quicker cooking time, but we are here again. Carbonara is really good with a long noodle. So either if you have like bucatini, spaghetti, or these spaghetti alla chitarra or macaroni alla chitarra, use these things. Angel hair, probably not a good idea. It's gonna all break apart. It's just too delicate, too thin. So we have our pasta emerging into the water. We wanna get it all the way down, okay? All right, here we are. It's completely down, and in about 1 minute, we're gonna give it a stir. Okay, you're gonna wanna use about 1 egg for every 2 people. I'm making this recipe for 4 adults, so I have 2 eggs. Now, all I want is the red of the egg, but I don't wanna throw away the white because I'm gonna make something else wonderful with it. I'm gonna, make a little frittata or use it in a dessert or something. Get a little container with a lid on the side and put these whites in your refrigerator. Okay, so on the edge of the bowl, we're gonna crack it. And we will separate the yolk from the white. There we are. A couple passes and we should get it all. There we go. If you have a little tiny bit of the white, it's okay. And there we are. Now I'm gonna go throw this away and wash my hands. Okay, so don't forget, it has been about a minute, so I went ahead and stirred the pasta. Now, time for the egg yolks, 2 egg yolks. And why is this called carbonara? Again, it's called carbonara because it's black from how much pepper we put in it. Okay, so let's put a lot of nice ground pepper in there. We're gonna fast forward this because it's gonna take a little while. Okay, there we go. You can see that it's become black from the pepper, which is like carbon. That's why it's called carbonara. All right, we're gonna put a pinch of salt in this. Okay, go ahead and add some of the Parmigiano in here, not all of it, but about half. All right, we put that in there. And let's whisk this all together. All right, there we are. Now, here comes the delicate part. We're gonna have to add a little bit of that pasta cooking water inside of this to keep it moist because we don't want the egg to clump. We want this to become smooth and velvety and actually become a sauce for the noodle once it's done. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of the pasta water. I have like a little stainless steel container. You can use a coffee mug, a cup of whatever, with a handle so that you don't hurt yourself when you go into the water. Get a little bit of that water, all right? And you always want it hot, so don't feel like you have to do it all at once. Just a little bit at the time is good, all right? And we wanna make sure that we keep it nice and liquidy. Now, essentially what this is doing is the heat from this water is kind of just very slowly cooking this egg because we did put raw egg in this. You notice how nice and liquidy that's coming. Very nice there. Okay, we'll add a little bit more. All right, there we go. See that? It's nice and liquidy. All right, now, to further help pasteurize this, all right? Not everybody does this, all right? But so that you can be safe at home and give this a little bit of cooking time, bringing the temperature up, we can set it right up on top of our boiling water pot. This is called the Bagno Maria. And the heat from below will essentially pasteurize this egg while still keeping it liquidy. Come on over with me. Okay, let's go ahead and remember, we gotta keep stirring our pasta. All right, and then we're gonna put this lid right up on top. The steam that comes out from below could hurt you. So, tilt it off to the side a little bit so that the vapor comes off the back end and it doesn't hurt your hands. And you gotta really pay attention to this because it could bubble from underneath and just spew all over your cooking counter. So, but if you could see here, what I'm looking at, I actually see a little bit of vapor coming up off of the eggs right now. It's a good sign, but still liquidy. You gotta keep it liquidy. Okay, so what this Bagno Maria is consenting a very nice, slow and delicate warming and cooking of these eggs. You don't want to do it, for example, like actually on a flame, because then you would end up with scrambled eggs. And you want a sauce on your pasta. You don't want scrambled eggs. Okay, there we go. See, notice how it started just a little bit. That's it, no more. Okay, we gotta leave it like that. We can actually just add just a little tiny bit more of our cooking water in this. All right, let's see how our pasta is doing. Remember, the true and tried method for checking to see if the pasta is done, you take a piece out of the water and you throw it on the wall. And if it sticks, it's done. Nope, that's not how you do it. Just teasing you guys. All right, so again, you have to taste test. That's really the only way. Let's look. We see that inside the noodle. Let's focus in on that. There's a little tiny bit of white core. That means it needs just about another minute and it'll be ready. Don't throw anything away. Okay, so the pasta is just about ready. Next step, let's heat up our oil of our crisp pancetta. Look at how beautiful that is. Okay, low flame. We want to just warm it up, but we don't want to keep cooking it. Okay, at this point, we are ready to take the pasta out of the cooking water and put it into the sauce. I'm not draining it into a colander because I want a little bit of that water. All right, let's go over here and start tossing it, making sure that it's coating the noodles nice and evenly. Oh, it smells so nice. Okay. All right, we need a little more water. It looks a little dry, so we got to add a little bit more pasta water to it. Except I want the hot stuff here, so I'm gonna go into our cooking water container. Let's see how it's looking. Okay, just one last little bit of the pasta water, and then the bacon. Okay, so just stay with me here. There it is. We have the sizzling bacon right up on top, just like that, with all of its cooking oil inside. Okay, that's all the flavor, guys. All of that bacon pancetta, it's all right in there. All right, beautiful. I see a nice creamy texture to it. You see that creamy texture on the bottom? Looks really good. Let's go ahead and just give it just another little crack of pepper on top to make it a real carbonara. More of your beautiful Parmigiano cheese or pecorino. If you don't have pecorino, you can use the Parmigiano or vice versa. The real recipe calls for pecorino romano, but it's a very strong flavored cheese. So you might like it, you might not, but there it is. Here's our carbonara. Sit down and go enjoy this with your loved ones. And we'll see you soon here at Castello.